So hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to join us for the virtual information session for the Masters of Science in Biology. Again, whether you're watching live or you're watching a recording, please do not hesitate to reach out to any of us with more or for more information. We're happy to help. But before we go any further, if everyone wouldn't mind introducing themselves so everyone can get to know us a little better, and we can start with Dr. Hare-Harris.
Hi, I'm Dr. Hare-Harris, and I am the coordinator of the graduate program for the Masters in Biology. I'm an associate professor in the biology department, and my research specialty is human genetics. But I've also been collaborating on a new project with Dr. Klinger here, looking at microplastics in polar regions as well.
And Dr. Hare-Harris, you were just recently traveling for work purposes. Would you mind disclosing to the rest of the group where you went?
I went to Antarctica, which was lots of fun.
I'm assuming it's not a town in
but good.
It's not a town in Pennsylvania, right?
No.
It's the Antarctica. Okay. All right. Nice. Now, I'm embarrassed to even admit, so Antarctica, penguins? No penguins.
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 Thousands of penguins, hundreds of thousands of penguins.
It's the other one where there's no penguins. I always get those two mixed up. Okay. My kids would be able to correct me, but they're not here right now. So great. All right.
Well, actually, the name Arctic means bears.
Oh.
And Antarctic means away from the bears.
I did not know that. And I bet most of the people watching probably did not know that they were stepping into what I believe is a Latin lesson, probably, where the naming came from. But that's really interesting. I did not know that. Klinger.
Okay, so I am Thomas Klinger. I'm a professor emeritus, which means that after teaching at Bloomsburg for many years, they have kind of put me out to pasture a little bit, but not too far. I'm actually acting as a graduate liaison. I'm working with Dr. Hare-Harris on projects. I'm coordinating students, and I'm reaching out so that people know about the program. Now, my area of specialty is marine biology, and I use my marine biology interest as an excuse to go around the world. I was actually in Greece last summer, taking a look at thermal adaptations of sea urchins because the oceans are warming up. Yeah. And we want to know how the animals are going to adapt to that.
That's interesting. Yeah, that trip intrigues me a little more just due to the temperature and the weather increase. But
it is absolutely lovely in the Aegean Sea. You should come next time.
Is that an offer? Sure, I'm there.
Absolutely.
Count me in.
Klinger plans very good trips.
And last but not least, the only non-biologist, my name is Tom Kresh. I'm the Director of Graduate Admissions, and I will be your host for tonight. So we have a presentation scheduled here with Dr. Hare-Harris and Dr. Klinger to highlight the program. Again, if anybody has questions, either during the presentation or if you're watching the recording, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are happy to help. But I will go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Hare-Harris.
Great. I will share my screen here. And I'm just going to move your faces out of the way for me here. Okay, I think it is sharing. Can everyone see my slides?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. Okay, well, welcome to our information session. So the reason you're all here is because you want to know about the master's program in biology. And so the first thing that we really want to tell you is why should you think about this program specifically? And why should you think about a master's in biology instead of just going off after your undergrad experience and getting a job or going on for a PhD or going to med school? Our program is unique in that it is a great stepping off point for all of those options. And so a lot of entry-level positions for biologists actually require a master's degree. Some do require a PhD, but this master's program really sets you up so that you are prepared and ready to go for a PhD or anything that is coming next. And in fact, the master's degree really is becoming the professional working degree of biology and allied health sciences as well. And when you look at the U.S. Labor Department, it lists the BS as the minimum qualification for entry level. But when you look at the state, the places that you're actually applying for, it'll often say master's preferred or master's required. And so this is really because as part of your undergraduate experience, you learn a lot about what is biology, how do we do science, what is science, how do we think about science questions. What you do in your master's program is you think about, okay, well, I know all of these things about biology. How can I apply that to a new research question and come up with my own experiments and design your own projects? And that is an invaluable resource for students who want to go into the field of biology. And I'm going to also ask Dr. Klinger if he wants to chime in with some of his personal reasons why he would like to tout our program. So Dr. Klinger?
No, absolutely. I mean, what I'm finding with my students as they've gone out into the world is that even if a job lists that you need a minimum of a bachelor's degree, the people that you're competing with have master's degrees. So if you want to be able to compete, you've got that under your belt. And there is a good reason for that. This is not just, a hollow credential to say, in your undergraduate degree, you learn your basic biology, you learn how everything functions. When you get to the master's degree, you say, can you use it? Can you actually do things? And master's degree is very hands-on, very applied. You're doing things so that when you walk out with that thesis in your hand, you can say, yes, I can be a scientist. I can do science. And people will say, good, that's exactly what we're looking for. You're a known entity.
Absolutely. And another thing that I would like to add as to, okay, I think we've made the point clear about why a master's, but why should you do your master's at Commonwealth University? We have some pretty unique qualities about Commonwealth University. And one of the qualities of our program is that we only have a master's program. We do not have a doctoral program. And at first you may be thinking, okay, why is that important to me? Well, if you are a master's student in our program, you get first dibs on any graduate assistantships that we have, which will actually give you a small stipend for working at the university while you are getting your master's degree. If you go to a school where you've got a PhD program, they often get first dibs at those. And then the master's students will get any positions that are available afterwards. And so that is one of the benefits of our program that a lot of programs do not have.
Right. And it also, it makes your master's degree a better investment, right? Because not only are you doing hands-on applied work relevant to your field, but on top of that, you're getting a paycheck, right? And you're also getting some of your classes paid for. So again, the return on investment becomes that much better as a result of that. So that's really important. I didn't know that. That's really interesting to hear.
Yeah, that assistantship is also very important because it is essentially an apprenticeship as an academic scientist, so that you are actually doing the things that you will do throughout your career and proving that, yes, I can function in this environment. So that
some of the duties that you may have with that would be prepping a laboratory for the students to learn, or you may be working in a research laboratory and prepping information and things for a laboratory experiment. And so you get that hands-on experience in addition to your own research and your own experiments that you are doing. And so it's just broadening your experience.
Another nice thing about the fact that we have a master's program is that we're focused on our master's students. So you've got all of the attention of the professors. They're not off and saying, yeah, I have got, this major grant that I have to service. And I'll get to you later. They're going, no, we are starting students in their scientific career. This is what we do. And so that all of that attention will be focused on an individual that's here.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Klinger, I'm actually going to let you explain this slide because you wrote it.
Okay, the big transformation that occurs when you get into a master's program is that you are actually asked to function as a scientist. You're going to come up with a hypothesis. You're going to figure out a way to address that hypothesis, to answer your question. You're going to collect the data, you're going to put it together, you're going to present it. Most of our students publish so that they actually do all of the things that a scientist is going to do. And this is really, we chuckle when our students come in, because throughout their undergraduate career, they learn facts, they learn facts, they learn facts. And among many people, there's this idea that you get your head shoved full of enough facts and all of a sudden, boom, you know how to do science. That's not how it works at all. What you have to do is you have to go, okay, I'm going to come up with a question. I'm going to figure out how to answer that question. I'm going to answer that question, and then I'm going to move on from there. And that is really what we specialize in here. We really focus in on that first step of actually being a functioning scientist.
Mhm. It's more about the experience as the master student as well. And I think that that's what this particular slide is showing you, is that, okay, our science is that we have this hypothesis and we want to go out and test it. But actually being a scientist is saying, okay, well, how do we do that? And what are all the problems? Oh, and this broke and I have to fix it. And so that is all part of being a scientist. And that's something that goes beyond your undergraduate experience.
Yeah. When we were over in Greece, one of our students had a lovely little question that she was addressing, where she had a photoreceptor where she was looking at the UV light that was coming during the day, and she set it out in the middle of the field. We came back the next day and somebody had stolen it. And she's like, oh my God, this is what I was planning to do the whole time I was over here. And we're just like, well, we just planned to do something else. Mm-hmm. And scrambled around and put together some very legitimate things that she could do, so that now she's learning to be nimble on her feet, which is something that is very important for a scientist.
So let's talk a little bit about what the biology program actually looks like. And one of the things that is new as compared to if you've heard anything about our biology master's program before, is that now we are part of the Commonwealth University. And so this program originally started at Bloomsburg University, but now includes students and faculty at Lock Haven and Mansfield as well. And so you can be a master's student at any of these locations, working with a professor at any of these locations, and take classes and be part of the same master's program. We also have a variety of courses that are taught at Wallops Island in Virginia, which is a field station that students will go to in the summer. And it depends on your course load and what courses you want to take as determining what types of classes you may take. But we have classes in field biology, as well as molecular biology and more computational biology type classes as well, and data analysis. Each course, it depends on what type of course it is, but many of them will include in-person components. Some may include a blended component where some of the course is online and some of it is in person. And then we have some completely online classes as well. And all of these classes are offered at all three universities on a rotating schedule. And so we try to make it as accessible as possible to all three campuses, and giving opportunities to students at all three campuses at the same time. Overall, the requirements are to complete 30 credit hours, and 6 of those credit hours include research if you are doing a thesis option. So the thesis option involves a 2-year master's program where you take 6 master's degree credits each semester. So that's 4 semesters plus your summer research. Most people take it in the summer. And the thesis itself, you write a proposal about what your project will be. You work on that with your major professor, as well as your committee, which you've selected from faculty members in the Commonwealth University campus. And then from there, you present your proposal to the department and you conduct your research. After you've conducted your research, or while you're conducting your research, you write a thesis. And that thesis is then presented to the department as a defense. Many people often go on to publish their thesis in scientific journals as well. But there's also a non-thesis option available. So most students who come into the program will do the thesis option. The non-thesis option is for special cases where you want to focus more on more of a literature search or more of a meta-analysis. And maybe you want to go more into like an educational program or something like that instead of a wet lab experience. And so we get many students that will do a non-thesis option where they take a couple additional courses instead of doing the thesis credits, the research credits. And instead of doing a research project, they do a different type of research project where they are looking through literature, doing literature searches, looking at different meta-analyses, which is looking at lots of different papers of things that other people have done and synthesizing that information all together into one analysis that you complete. And so there's different options and ways to change the master's program to suit what is best for your journey. And again, we also have the graduate assistantships, which we talked about, and that's available for qualified applicants. And to be qualified, you have to be in good academic standing, and you have to have completed your proposal for your research as well. Dr. Klinger, is there anything that I'm missing? I'm the new coordinator, so it's entirely possible that I missed something.
Well, one of the most important things to know about a master's program is that your individual creative scholarship is right at the heart of it. And that actually doing that research, developing your thesis or developing your departmental paper is really what's going to drive that program all the way through. So you're working very, very closely with a team of faculty members that are going to support you while you do this. And you're going to be taking coursework in support of that.
Absolutely.
In order to build behind that. So that really is different than an undergraduate program, which typically is, yeah, you know, I took a suite of courses. Here, we're focusing in on that we are actually going to be a scholar, we're actually going to do scientific work, and we're going to take what courses that we need in order to be able to support that.
Yes. So a really good example would be my last graduate student who just graduated was interested in genetics and more bioinformatics type things. So she took courses that involved genetics, molecular biology, more coding type classes, learning how to do some more advanced coding than what she had in her undergrad. And then also took some courses related to physiology, so animal cell physiology and some molecular courses as well. But we have other students who may be studying stream ecology, and so they will be taking limnology, stream entomology, and different types of field courses. So you can really customize the courses that you want to take with your interest and your research project. And speaking of courses, this is just an example of some of the courses that we offer, but this is not an all-inclusive list. And as we are working on our coursework for all three universities under Commonwealth universities, just be aware that some of the titles of these courses may change. But in general, you can see that we've got several different types of physiology. We have lots of different types of developmental biology and molecular biology, as well as field courses. Like I said, I only listed a few field courses on here, but there's a whole world of them. So this is just a few examples. We also have a requirement that students take a research methods course or a biostatistics course. And so that's not listed here, but we do have that requirement so that you can learn how to design an experiment and learn how to analyze your data with the appropriate statistical tools. So for your scholarly research project, again, this is going to be based upon your interests and will be determined with the help of your major professor. So when you join the master's program, you will get to know the professors that are in our department, and any professor that has room in their laboratory for a new graduate student will meet with you and talk to you about their research, and you can come up with a project with them. And you have different professors to choose from, so it's not like you're stuck with one professor because that's the only person that studies that thing. You can change your mind. And so you come up with a project based on your interest in a professor's research. And so Your research will be guided by your major professor, who is the professor you choose as your chief professor to go to and work underneath. And so in some places you may call that a PI or a principal investigator. You also will select committee members who are faculty members who will help guide you as well. And so many of the individuals in the biology department, even if they don't have a current master's student, are on a committee of one of our master's students. I'm on several. And so you'll have many people to ask questions. In addition to that, you'll be working on your research, but one of the main components that makes a master's particularly special is that you also get to present your own research. And so there's opportunities for our students to present their research both at their thesis defense, but also at Commonwealth University research days, local symposia, as well as national conferences. For example, this past October, I took my graduate student to Los Angeles to the American Society of Human Genetics Conference. In the past, I've taken people to the Meeting of Language and Autism because that's what we studied. But there's a whole world of conferences out there. There's one for your specialty, and there's lots of support for graduate students financially and support just emotionally and just as professionally to go to these conferences. In addition, the goal of science, the goal of every scientist is to publish your own work. And so the thesis is designed to be finished in a publishable manner so that you can take your thesis and say, you know what, I want to submit this to a journal, and it's basically in the right format. You just have to change it around a little bit and submit it. The other thing is you are going to be joining a global community of scientists. Scientists are a happy, collaborative bunch, and we really do value input of others and networking. And so not only will you get to network among your cohort, you'll also get to network among your professor's cohort as well, because they will be going to meetings with you and introducing you to people. And it opens up doors for your next steps. Dr. Klinger, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think this is something that can't be overemphasized is that you are joining a network, a community of scientists. And this is the stage in your career, usually when you're getting out, you're meeting people, you're finding out what people are doing. And that really is what will allow you to move on to the next steps in your career, because you know who's doing what, where, and you say, oh, I'd kind of like to go play with them and have an opportunity to move on in that direction.
Absolutely. So what is it like to be a student in our program? You can see one of our former students here presenting a poster at one of our research days. That is a very common thing that we do in our program. We also go to lots of different places, different conferences, different field stations. There's also internship opportunities as well. A general day-to-day experience for our graduate students would be that you have your coursework that you take. As I said, a full load for someone who is full-time with a graduate assistantship is 2 3-credit courses at the graduate level. And then you also have your 20 hours a week of your graduate assistantship duties. And with that, like I said before, you could either be assigned to a classroom and you do prep for that laboratory, or you could be assigned to a professor and you do preparations for their research. And then there's other things that may come up as well. Some people work in the dean's office, some people work in the library. And so it's just kind of whatever needs we have as a department, and where do you fit in, what are your strengths, and what would you like to learn? We like to put students in the classroom as well. And so in the laboratory, you will never be teaching a classroom, but you can be a teaching assistant as well in the laboratory. So the professor would be there teaching, and you are walking around and helping the laboratory groups and giving the professor a hand and leading tutoring sessions and things like that. In addition to your graduate coursework and your GA-ship, we also have a learning environment, part of our learning community for our biology and health science students. And so our graduate students will hold office hours there for tutoring for our undergraduates. And then we also have lots of different events where the graduate students will get together, get to know each other. We always have picnics and things like that as well. And we have a conference room where the graduate students tend to hang out, eat lunch, get to know each other. We leave food there for all of you if you're quite hungry. And so there's a good camaraderie as well.
Yeah, it seems like the social fabric of the program is very strong, and that does really enhance the overall experience for grad students, because that way you're not like left on this island, or marooned somewhere just with your own research. There's a team of people at the same stage of life going through the same process together, living very similar lifestyles, and it's a lot more enjoyable doing that with a group of other people in the same spot. So yeah, that's great to hear.
Absolutely.
It also is really, it broadens horizons, because with our students, we have somebody who's studying, foraging in birds, who is eating lunch every day with somebody who's taking a look at microbiological communities in the intestine. And they can just pass information back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And that really opens doors where you go, oh my God, I never even thought about that.
Mhm.
I can take that.
Absolutely. And I can't tell you now how much I'll see something and I'm like, hey, I went to graduate school with that person. And so these are lifelong connections that you tend to maintain.
The world of biology is small, is what you're saying.
Very, very, very small. Yes.
Yeah.
You want to be on your P's and Q's.
And so just some highlights in particular of things that our students can get involved in. Bloomsburg University has a chapter of Beta Beta Beta, and we're working on getting a chapter at Lock Haven and Mansfield as well. And this is the Biological Honor Society. I'm actually the advisor of it. And graduate students can join. If you are already a member as an undergraduate, you are automatically a member of our chapter too. And we actually were recognized in 2020 as the best chapter in the nation. And so this is a good one to be in. We also have several different clubs. We have a biology club. We have a field biology club as well. And the field biology recently hosted a workshop on wetland flowers in Ricketts Glen State Park, which is not too far from Bloomsburg. We also have field trips that we take. So Dr. Klinger and I have both taken students on field trips to the Smithsonian. And so we took the integrated intervertebrate zoology team, the students to a behind the scenes look at how the museum specimens are prepared and preserved and cataloged in the Smithsonian Institute. And that was super cool. We've also done behind the scenes at the Adventure Aquarium in Camden, which is, in my opinion, even cooler. But they have penguins. And so
that actually is a very good case in point, because I had my students in invertebrate zoology. And I said it would be really neat to take them down to the Smithsonian. So I got on the phone and called somebody that I went to graduate school with, who is now working at the Smithsonian, and said, hey, can I bring my kids down? He says, sure, come on down. We'll get you right in.
Absolutely. And so two examples of field trips that we've done, but the university also does field trips through our alumni and professional engagement office as well, to different locations and different job opportunity type places. And then lastly, on this particular slide, the graduate students themselves have actually taken it upon themselves to start an interdisciplinary journal club. And it's really because the students study such a variety of different topics. They wanted to learn about each other's topics and actually be able to understand what they're talking about. And so they've started a journal club so that they can share journal articles about their current research. Another thing that's a great highlight here is the job outlook for individuals that want to study biology is really growing, particularly for people that want to go into environmental studies, as well as healthcare. And if you want to move on to a professional school, these are all great outlooks. In addition to there being lots of growth in this area, there's also a lot of retirements. Dr. Klinger is a really good example of that. People who are starting to leave the job market because they're starting to retire, which is leaving openings for people to step in and carry the torch to the next generation. And again, like we said before, the master's degree is often becoming the minimum qualifications for a job without further education as well. And so the master's degree really is the degree that opens doors so that it's not just the complete entry-level laboratory technician. You often enter as a staff scientist or a laboratory coordinator if you go right into a research position from here. And just to see where some of our students have gone recently. So you can see a couple pictures of our students over here on the side. We have had alumni travel all over the world and to different parts of the country as well, and do different types of things, both professionally as jobs or going on for further education as well. And so you can see some of the different jobs listed here at the top, and some of the locations that those individuals have ended up at, as well as underneath that yellow line are some of the current PhD and medical programs that our former students have gone on to. And we currently have alumni at these institutions. And so not only are you joining a good group of individuals at Bloomsburg and Lock Haven and Mansfield universities, you're also joining the alumni. And there's a huge network of those individuals at all of these locations and beyond. Dr. Klinger, anything you'd like? You know more of these students than I do since I'm new. So anything you'd like to say?
We have done a very good job of placing our students in jobs that they really want to do. If you'll notice, we are spread out all over the place. I would say that's probably the only criteria is that in order to be a scientist, you have to be willing to move. You have to be willing to go to where the jobs are. But if you are, there really is no ceiling to what you could do.
Yeah, and I think this is on full, puts on full display the variety of different options students can, choose to pursue within their career. You've got people who've gone to med school. You have people who have gone on to study, paleontology. You have people working for hospitals, and people working for the EPA. I mean, there's so many different things. You're not pigeonholed into doing just one. It is kind of like an a la carte option here, where you can say, I'm interested in this part of biology. This is what I'm going to study. Right? It's you can do what you want to do. And it's very infrequent that you have options like that. So I think that's great.
Yeah. It's Sarah at the Living Shores Aquarium was actually on the national news last week.
Was she really?
Yeah. Yeah. Doing a Valentine presentation with her otters. She says that
that's wonderful.
Her job is to play with otters all day.
There are worse jobs.
Yeah. Are they hiring? Just asking for a friend. Asking for a friend.
So at this point, we'd like to tell you a little bit about how you actually apply to our program. And so the requirements for admission is that you need to have an undergraduate degree in biology or something related. You will need to provide 2 letters of recommendation from previous science faculty, so people that you have taken science courses with. At least 1 letter should be from a faculty member who has taught you in an upper level course, so something you've taken as a junior or senior. And if you have done any research projects as an undergrad, we highly encourage you to submit at least 1 letter from your research advisor. Okay, so again, just because you would submit 2 letters, you can submit another one too. You may also submit a letter from any professor who's able to talk about your laboratory potential. So if you had somebody, even if it wasn't an upper level course, maybe you took genetics as a sophomore with someone, you can have your laboratory research professor write professor write you a letter. And any point that you see that you feel like, oh, you know what, maybe I don't have the background for this, that's okay. what you really need to do is reach out to me and talk to me about, okay, well, I feel like I don't have a very good microbiology background, and we'll work it out so that you can take a microbiology course in addition to your graduate coursework to kind of fill in some of the holes. So there are opportunities for you to take some undergraduate classes while you're here, if there's something that you really feel like you'd like to learn more about as well. So that's something that we can work on.
Yeah, and think broadly on that, because there's a real proliferation of names that they give to biology programs now, so that what we're looking for is appropriate presentation. And actually, we had a very successful student a couple of years ago who had a bachelor's in philosophy, but he did in fact have a number of biology classes under his belt, and we say, yeah, you've got the preparation that we need to go on. So talk to us, and we'll tell you what it is that we're looking for.
Yes, absolutely. And that student actually, I taught as an undergrad when he was where I went to grad school. So again, a small world. He was actually in the genetics course that I taught, which is pretty cool.
And is it in a doctoral program now
at Lehigh, right?
At Lehigh in paleontology.
Yeah. Which is not where he started at all. So, you really can go in many different directions here. And no, this is not the picture of the student that we're talking about. This is just another person who happens to study fossils.
Who had to run around the world to different museums in order to study her fossils.
Sorry, I did not mean to click that. Yes, so Kiara went all over the world to get her samples. So that is the end of our slides. We'd be happy to take any questions, or if Tom, is there anything that we forgot to talk about?
No, that was great. Very helpful. So I know one question I do get frequently is, are there any required, or I guess, what are some of the more common bachelor degrees that you see students earning that go into this program? Like, is there room for a student who maybe has a biochem background or maybe has a chemistry background to go into a field like this?
Yes.
Absolutely. And even if you've taken a look at some of the programs that we offer at Commonwealth University, and with anything within the College of Science and Technology would be something that we see fairly frequently. So we have environmental geosciences as well, chemistry, biochemistry. Biology is the most common, but health science also pops up. All of those and others are often the most common ones that we see, but just because you don't fit into that hole doesn't mean that you can't apply. The first step is to reach out to me and just ask questions. And so I'm happy to talk to anyone.
Great. And what advice would you have for prospective students who are considering this option? What should they be doing as an undergraduate to get prepared for a program like this?
I would say doing an undergraduate research project, at least for one semester, is the best way to prepare for a career in biology, whether you come to our program or not. But it definitely helps give you an idea of what goes into actually doing research and if you are going to like it. And so research is one of those things that you may think you're going to hate it and then you love it. Or you may think, yes, this is exactly what I do. And then you get there and like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. And so getting that experience as an undergraduate is a wonderful thing to do. And another thing I will say is whether you have that experience or not, reaching out to the professors at in the Commonwealth University in our department and just asking them about the research. Are they looking for graduate students, and seeing if there's anything that they would recommend? That would also be another great place to start. Dr. Klinger, do you have any specific suggestions too?
Yeah, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get as much of a background as you can in actual hands-on things. So go for those classes that have laboratories, but start talking to your professors at the institution that you're at, and start corresponding with professors at our graduate program, or if you're looking at other graduate programs, correspond with them too. Because you're not bothering them at all. We are all always looking for good students. So when somebody reaches out to us and says, I'm interested in doing this, we can start to talk to them and say, oh yes, that is something that Dr. Harris is doing. yeah, we will connect you up with that and start talking about the things that you can do as a graduate student. And
I
it
would also
really-
say, don't get discouraged if you email a professor and don't hear back right away. They get a lot of emails. And so if it's someone you're really interested in talking to and you don't hear back in a week, you can email them again.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. My son was emailing a professor and he was all despondent because they didn't respond. And I said, are you sure they're getting it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he found out that no, the email was being caught by the server and put into the junk mail.
Yeah.
And he had to reach out through another professor who passed his name on, and they connected, and it is an absolutely wonderful relationship now. So a little bit of persistence there.
Yeah, that's great. And as students are starting to consider the program, can you speak a little bit about the accelerated 3+2 program? So for any students that are at any of our Commonwealth campuses, how would they enroll in that? At what point in their academic career do they need to start to reach out to start the process?
Absolutely. So our 3+2 program are for students who are undergraduate biology majors who want to do their bachelor's and master's in 5 years. And so it's an accelerated program where during your 4th year, which would normally be your senior year, you start to take a combination of undergraduate and graduate course electives. And so you start to work on your graduate degree during your senior year of your undergraduate. And so then your last year, your 5th year, you're fully a graduate student taking only graduate courses and finishing up your thesis. The advantage to this is instead of taking 4 years for an undergraduate degree and then minimum 2 years for a master's degree, now you're accelerated. And so you can start your research project early because you're already here. And so generally, these students will start doing research as sophomores. And getting their feet wet and volunteering in research labs and deciding who they want to work with for their 3+2 project. And then as a junior, they really start to think about, okay, what is this project going to look like for my master's thesis? And so by the time they are a senior, they will have a proposal ready to go, present their proposal, and jump right into their thesis project. In terms of when you can join this program, the earlier you get to me, the better, because as long as you're in the biology program, it's pretty easy to switch into this major track. But if you're in a different program, then we want to make sure you have all the undergraduate requirements all lined up and get all our I's dotted and T's crossed.
Okay.
The latest you possibly can come talk to me about it is your senior year. And so, but early in your senior year, because we have to do some paperwork and get it all squared away and make sure that the classes that will count both for your undergraduate and your graduate electives are all entered correctly and that you're in the right sections. Because if you take the undergraduate version of something we have a graduate version for, it's more paperwork. It's not exactly the right course. So we want to make sure you're in the right location.
A formal application into the accelerated program happens in the undergraduate junior year.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had students apply as late as their first semester of their senior year.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can't. We do have students that show up as a freshman and say, I'm going to do this. And say, okay, I want to apply for it. Say, that's okay. We know you're going to do it. We're going to advise you that you're going to do it. But then we are going to formally constitute it in your junior year at the earliest.
Yep. And then you are assigned 2 different advisors. I am one of them. And then you will also have the undergraduate advisor that you've had. And so that'll help you finish up your undergraduate courses while you're starting to transition to the graduate student.
Okay.
So this is both time efficient and cost efficient because you can actually count some of the courses both towards your graduate degree and your undergraduate degree so that you can, really just cut right to the chase.
It's a great option. Honestly, if I had had one as an undergrad, I totally would have done it.
Oh, absolutely.
So my final question for the night then is favorite class, your favorite class to teach and why?
That's easy.
You only get one though. Only one.
I only get one. That's okay. My favorite class that I teach is medical genomics. It's my favorite topic because it is what I study. But why I love this course, it's a 400 and 500 level course. So we get senior undergraduates and graduate students. And we talk about a lot of how we use genetics in medicine to personalize and predict disease and disease treatments and that type of thing. But then we spend a lot of time talking about the ethics and the legal situations about, okay, well, now that we have all this genetic information, what does that actually mean for us as people? And thinking about it like that. So we get into the biology, but then we also get into the logistics of it. And we focus more on like a genetic counseling point of view. But it's a wonderful class for anyone who has ever been to the doctor.
Which I would imagine would be most people. Most.
So anybody who's ever dealt with the medical system in any way, shape, or form, you should take medical genomics. It is not a computer coding class, even though it has genomics in the title. We have those too. Dr. Klinger, what was your favorite class to teach?
Oh, it is invertebrate zoology is by far my favorite. It's all the other creatures that people often miss, and they are very, very strange little beasties, and I just love introducing people to them.
Great. So thank you everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. Whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording, we appreciate your time. Please do not hesitate to contact us. We work for you and we are happy to do so. So we look forward to hearing from you and hope you have a great night.
Thank you.